my turn to introduce the governor for Boise State, and this individual, he wrote his own acceptance speech and how he wanted to be introduced. But I can't read his writing. And this actually happened too also when he sent his application in. I couldn't read his handwriting. So I had to call his mother, talk to his mother, and she said, okay, so we went through the writing to make sure, because I wanted to make sure that all the certificates that they get from either Boise State, St. House, or from National, the names are spelled correctly, otherwise it comes back and we're going to be corrected and so on and so forth, and you wouldn't believe how many names that come back. So now, we make sure that all the names are spelled correctly. I want to introduce this year's Boise State governor. He has been a leader and an advocate and a service member, a member of many years. Okay, so that's what he said. But actually, this young individual impressed me beyond belief. When I first heard him speak, I knew that this individual was going someplace. He doesn't just speak, he's got passion in his words. Whether he was at the State House, if he was here sitting debating, if he was writing a bill, if he had an amendment, if he was supporting another individual, when he was campaigning for governor. If you listen to him speak, it's unbelievable. Sometimes he reminds me of Bill Clinton with he has that little charm in him when he speaks. He doesn't get upset and the words just seem to flow out. So, our Boise State graduate for the class of 2016 is Lucas Hiltz.
Thank you, everybody. Just to clarify, Director Ron asked me to write my own biography and introduction, so I did not decide to do that myself. He's just messing around with me. But I'd like to say my speech now at this point. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming today. First, I would like to take a moment to say Happy Jefferson Hamilton Day. I will begin by thanking everyone who has made this week possible for us. I would like to thank my fellow Boise State attendees for making this such a powerful week. Never before have I met such an outstanding group of young scholars in Rhode Island. I would like to thank the American Legion, both for the experience they have given us, as well as the unwavering support they show for our nation's veterans. I would like to thank the chef for his food, and especially for the hundreds of chocolate milks, which he provided us without blinking an eye. I thank Coach, who let us do all of the sprints we wanted, and my dodgeball team thanks Coach even more for leading us to multiple clutch victories. I thank the junior counselors, both Isaac and Devin, for going above and beyond the call of duty. Without their limitless patience, guidance, and understanding, we would never have made it as far as we have this past week. I thank the parents for sending us here, giving up their children into the arms of a drill sergeant, although I'm sure we were not too terribly missed, judging by the amount of laundry we all produce. I thank the Girls State attendees as well. While we may have had our differences, they were always in good spirit, and they put up with each bill we passed in an effort to eat lunch before them. I thank them for the competition they provided and the support they gave us each as well. I thank all of the counselors from Boise State, and most of all, I thank Director Ron. We can all agree that without him, this program would fail to continue. Without his constant lobbying, organizing, and his devotion to the Legion and the program, none of us would be here today. Thank you again to every individual who put in an effort to provide each of us with such a unique experience. I would like to recite a short story I once heard. It's an old hiker's tale, but I found it applied perfectly to the speech. Forgive me if I do not recite it word for word. This is the allegory of the mountain man. Once, there was a lush and inviting forest. Shooting out from the center of the forest was a tall, rocky mountain. Its craggy faces imposed themselves on the peaceful surroundings. One day, an unassuming man who frequently walked through the forest looked up at the mountain. Some strange feeling took him over. for he had an unfamiliar urge for an adventure. The next day he began climbing. He had no ropes, no plan, and no experience. He had a mat in case he fell in his own hands. He also had something more. That feeling that brought him to the mountain gave him grit. He needed to begin climbing. He put his hands on the cool, dusty rock. He took a handhold and he took a few more. Then he fell. He landed hard on his back, but he climbed again, and he fell again. For days this went on, and soon a crowd began to form. The man appeared so bruised and so battered, it appeared he would not be capable of taking another step. But he did. He kept climbing, and through trial and error, he reached the top. He looked over the horizon, and he saw golden rays of sun mixed with the pink-tinged clouds. He looked out, and he saw a whole new world. He stayed on the mountain for a few days, enjoying his new freedom. Then one day, an old ranger shook him awake. The ranger looked at him and gave him a knowing smile and asked, "Where to next?" Now, there's a few endings to this story, but my personal favorite is one where the man goes to other mountains and spreads his sense of adventure. See, I like this ending because it has a great message. Each of us started our Boys State adventure the same as the man in the story. Whatever path it was that took us to this event, we all had no expectations going in. We were so unsure and out of our comfort zone, but we were drawn in by another sense, one that made us perfect for Boys State. We began Boys State, and that was when the mountain climb began. We fumbled and we failed, we tried and we tried again, but the important thing was that we never gave up. We never gave in. We kept trying. Finally, we reached the peak. We saw the glorious sunshine, the rolling kingdom of clouds. We learned everything and we mastered it. But not only that, we gained a passion for debate, a passion for the duel between two ideals in the pursuit of justice. We drive now for the celebration of both our nation and our veterans. Now we have met the Ranger. The ending is up to each of you. Our journey does not end at the top of this mountain. Will you go back home and return to your own ways, or will you go on to pass on these experiences and these beliefs? From here on, you write your own stories, but the Boys State program has provided each of us with the knowledge and ideals we need to move on to do great things in life. I know and believe deep within that each of you are capable of that much. I can never thank the people who have made this program possible for us enough, but I have tried my best. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce this year's Rhode Island Boys State graduates. First, we have Lieutenant Governor Nick Pagliusi.